Just talking about falling over on the ice with Torvill and Jayne, which you haven't done much
These
of.
two don't do that.
Trust as we do.
We would. Welcome back. It was, of course, 25 years ago at the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, and millions of people across Britain were glued to their televisions as Jayne, Torvill and Christopher Dean took to the ice.
And their performance to Ravel's Bolero received a perfect score of 12 sixes, and the couple were crowned Olympic champions. In celebration of that achievement, there's a special documentary this weekend, and we'll talk to Jayne and Chris in just a moment. Let's have a look back now at some of that skating history. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Because for those people who don't remember at the time, there will be some who weren't watching or didn't know.
Yeah.
But 24 or 25 million people watched that go out live. An amazing impact it had.
You know, we were stunned by all of that. At the time, we were in our in our bubble at the Olympics, and so you're sort of closed off from everything, and you have no impression of how people are viewing it. And it wasn't until we came back to England that the reception that we got was so amazing.
I was fascinated by the story that's going to be told this weekend about how you put the dance together, how you chose the music, because that piece of music is now imprinted on everyone's memory, and you can't help but see you two dancing to it when you hear it. But tell us the story, because that piece of music was too long, wasn't it, for a technical ice dance, which is why you start by kneeling.
Yes, I mean, we had it rearranged, and the shortest they could make it to sound okay was 4 minutes 28 seconds, and we were only allowed to go over 10 seconds over the 4 minutes. So we actually sort of cheated and didn't actually put our blade on the ice.
The word's not cheated. Interpreted.
Oh, no, okay.
I was just going to say that the first time Jayne told me you were admitted cheaters.
It was a grey area. The stopwatch starts when you started to skate, not when you started to move. So by necessity, we started on our knees, and that's how that image that went around the world became so famous.
And were you nervous at the time that the judges might just say, no, this is wrong, you have broken the rules, we're going to penalise you, not give you great, perfect results?
I think it had already, because we'd already done our British Championships and the European Championships prior to the Olympics, if there'd have been any real issues, we would have had to make changes. But I think it was generally accepted because we weren't skating. The blade was not on the ice.
The loophole was closed after.
It was.
You were very confident, weren't you?
Now, one of the things I found so fascinating about the documentaries, I think because people were so fond of you and you had that special place, that lots of kind of myths grew up about the two of you. The first one, it's not actually about your relationship, we'll go on to that in just a minute, but I thought it was a myth that you were a policeman. Because I thought that was one of those things, oh, he's the ice skating policeman, and I was never sure whether that was true or not, but you were a genuine Bobby, you arrested people and the whole thing.
I was on the streets of Nottingham, you know. I used to walk around the market square, that was my beat for like 3 years. I was a cadet before that. And then, yeah, so I had about 6 years on the force, and that was part of our problem, well, not problem, but managing work and competing at the same time against the Eastern Bloc countries at the time, because they were, you know, the leaders in our field, and they would be skating full time, and we were still doing our jobs. So eventually, what happened that we quit our jobs and skated full time as well.
And Jayne, as Charlie said, the main thing that everybody talked about, we all thought we knew you were having a relationship and you were an item.
Yes, I know. It's amazing because I was in a car the other day, and the driver said, "Do you know? I thought until last week that you two were married."
Yeah.
And it's funny because people have often said, "Well, you're married, aren't you?" Even like recently, and they just assumed that we were, and we are. And we said, no, to other people.
Yeah, but
Let's just clarify this. You're not married.
We're not
You're
married.
married,
I'm married.
but she's not married to
one
me.
another.
Yes, that's right.
And was the relationship thing, because in the film you're asked by a reporter at the time,
Yeah.
it's very funny, he says, are you going to get married?
I said,
And you were very cheeky because you don't
say no.
say no.
not today, not this week.
You were deliberately
Not yet.
fuming it because you knew it created more interest.
I don't know whether we were deliberately doing it, but it was just an avoidance question kind of thing. And that kind of took off then in the press, that it's like, well, are they going to get married next week or the week after or at the end of all of this? And indeed what we do, it's very physical, we touch each other. The Bolero is a very emotional piece. And I think, that people's image of it, once you'd finished skating, that continued.
One of the reasons it made such an impact, apart from the fact it was perfect, the judges said so, those beautiful costumes. And in this documentary, you go back and have to put on gloves to touch the costumes you once wore. Let's have a look.
February 14th to us, to a lot of people it's Valentine's Day, but to us it's Bolero Day.
Bolero has become like a very special thing. I think it's become more special as the years have gone by. I mean, people are still talking about it. I recognise that.
Gosh, I can't believe this is 25 years old. You most probably could get back into that.
You mean most probably?
The more we progressed, everything became integral. The musical choice, the costume choice, the choreography. From our point of view, it's like looking at a beautiful picture or reading a book that has a start, middle and end. Come on, Jayne, hold it up.
Okay. You don't have to sing. Please don't sing.
It doesn't look radical at all now, but at the time, it was skating fashion at the
Maybe
cutting edge.
we were trendsetters,
At one time, yeah.
It's funny watching that stuff, isn't it? I was trying to think off the top of my head of a sport in which we've got worse. I mean, generally standards have fallen, and that's quite a unique position, isn't it? Any other sport, generally we've got better, but your achievement has never been matched, has it?
Not to date. There are some signs of people coming up, but not. It hasn't been matched. But after our success, many years later, a centre was built in Nottingham and in Sheffield. So skating is very. I think the seeds have been sown for the future. I hope.
Well, it's absolutely lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And for reminding us of that great moment. You can see Dancing on Ice, the story of Bolero with Torvill and Dean. It's on ITV1 at 9 o'clock tomorrow night.